We're really excited to see over 100 delegates join us for the very first This Way Up. For us, for the three hubs that are hosting the event, it's really crucial that exhibitors have the opportunity to come together like this, at least once a year. And so we're really, really pleased that you all agree with that. We felt it was a kind of crucial element of what we were trying to achieve as film hubs, and that it was very important that the opportunity took place within our three hubs, which obviously cover the top half of the UK, and so to provide a kind of a much more accessible networking opportunity for our kind of collective membership.
The whole point of it, I think, is the exhibition sector. We often, in bars, in pubs, in meetings, we sit there picking over what it means to be a film exhibitor. How can we engage audiences? What do our programmes mean to communities that we're based in? And it was just a chance to kind of bring all of us together.
I feel very optimistic about this moment, actually. I feel optimistic about what we're going to be able to do to help support you and enable you in what you're doing, and I actually feel very optimistic about the landscape overall at the moment.
I am giving a few pearls of wisdom, nuggets of thought, at the start of the This Way Up conference to get people's minds whirring around. What I wanted to talk about was young audiences and the changing world of attention spans diminishing and different media competing for people's time. How do you keep young people engaged with film?
Cinema's awesome, isn't it? It's like, and most 10-year-olds would say the same thing. I don't hear people walking around saying that going to the pictures is boring. I've never heard anybody say that. I'm sort of really struggling with this crisis. It's brilliant. Where else can you do this? It's just really good.
This is correct. Now can you now wave them all around very fast? Exciting, but very wrong. If you do that, you will fail.
The important part of the film is not actually the screen. It's about the community, or not essentially the community, but what you sit inside. Things feel different, as I'm sure you're all aware, when there's hundreds of other people around you. So we very much wanted to create something that made you had to leave your living room. And we found it really frustrating actually when people have given us advice to say, this game that you could do with 500 people in a cinema, isn't it better that everyone could go back in their living room? We could give everyone a mouse and they could play the game in that sense. But actually, the game is nothing to do with what happens in the screen. It's all to do with what happens in the audience.
This was premiered at Cannes this year by a studio called Studio EXO, and they developed software wearable technologies which monitor everything from pulses. There's a company called Portal Entertainment, and they painted this storytelling platform which can change the direction of stories based on the audience's anxiety level.
It's one of the most important things, I think, for people to have a place to go where they can ask questions, but also quite like this sharing idea of other film programmers, and if that could be simplified, digital tools wise, like I'm sure we all follow reviewers, and I'd like to be able to follow film programmers.
This next slide might be offensive to people, or might scare a few people, but seeing as it's Thanksgiving last week, we found this on the internet, people counting their blessings, and so this is obviously a child who is probably thinking that Netflix is probably more important than mummy and daddy at this stage of their life.
I think the great thing about the conference is the fact that it's got sort of a 3-year plan already. So the fact that it's in the north as well, and to make a point of that and calling it This Way Up as well. I think there's a lot of innovation happening anyway. I think the film hubs have really shown that already, like even just the conference itself, in terms of coming up with innovation to do it. So I think for exhibitors to start thinking to a sense of belief into what they're doing, and that this is a really, really interesting area of growth and experimentation. And for people to make the links and actually gain a larger awareness, not sort of networking on a sort of personal level, but sort of like thinking about how the people here are all similar-minded in terms of wanting to be more experimental, and that's a real power.
It's going really well. It's great to see so many people from different places in the room, see some new faces as well as some old faces. Talking to each other. That's what we wanted to do for this conference, is to start with people really talking to each other across the regions, across the borders, and sparking some ideas. And if we can do that from these 2 days, then I think we'll all be really happy.